Hello friends, welcome to another episode of Talk with Mo. I'm excited to introduce our guest, the guest we have today. Her name is Vivian Adeoye. Vivian is a victim of domestic abuse. Many people are aware of domestic violence because not until they beat you, it is not considered abuse or violence. So Vivian is here to speak on that for us today. But before that, let's talk a little bit about Vivian. She went from being a victim to setting up a non-governmental organization where she now takes care of victims of domestic abuse and domestic violence. And she's extending that to the youth as well because she believes that it is systemic and people become what they watch and what they see. So today, without wasting more time, I want to turn it over to Vivian. So welcome, Vivian. We're excited to have you here today. I'm sure lots of people will benefit from what you're here to share with us today. Vivian, we've known each other for a bit now. I actually met you at a seminar that's where I was discussing about domestic violence and
Thank you so much for having me. Yes, we met almost maybe 5 years ago.
It's been 5 years already.
Yes, it's been 5 years ago. So the time goes so fast. But I'm so grateful that I met you that day, and you make a great impression on that on the conference, and you taught a lot of valuable lessons, and it was really impacted so many people that day.
Wow.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, I've always been passionate about domestic violence and the impact on women, and maybe it's because of what I do as a lawyer, as a family law lawyer. But since then, we have gotten to know each other a bit more, and I have gotten to know your story. And today, because I know domestic violence is one of those big elephants people are still not wanting to talk about so much in Nigeria, I wanted us to talk about it today. So I just want to thank you, first of all, for just being vulnerable and willing to share your story, because I know that it will impact, it will inspire a lot of people who are in the same situation.
Thank you so much for having me, because this type of discussion wasn't available when I was going through what I was going through. And you are right. We are not seeing a lot of things about domestic abuse, especially in Nigeria. I can't say the whole of Africa. The way parents bring up girls different from how they bring up boys. They train girls how to please their husband. That this is that how you're going to treat your husband? Is that how you're going to cook for your husband? So right from beginning, you just know your mission. When you go to school or whatsoever you achieve in life, the pinnacle of it is to be a good wife and later on a good mother. So, and the men not so much like that, but the problem with domestic abuse, and that is why when so many people get married, they are facing a lot of challenges. They are so afraid to talk about it because this is what they are being trained from when they are 5 years old. So they see themselves as a failure, and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want people to know they fail in what they were born to do. And also, especially when you are in the African, let me be precise, Nigerian society, that they quickly condemn women. And also, there's the different kind of domestic violence that I got to know later on. Because I thought domestic violence is only physical.
When they beat you.
When they beat you, that when they will beat you, and this is only physical.
Were you ever beaten?
No. Yeah, and that is I mean, that was I can't say it's a plus or minus for my own, because my father used to beat my mom. So when I was dating before I got married, I was always looking for a man that is not prone to anger, to beat the wife. So I always ask whoever I'm dating, what will you do if I provoke you? And so that was just what I focused on.
Oh, so right from a young age, you were exposed to domestic violence in the home.
Exactly.
Did that somehow normalize it for you? Did you think it was normal for men to be violent or abusive towards women?
For me, I do not like it, and that is why I was looking for a man that doesn't beat their wife. And I do not like a physical violence.
Yes.
So that was my main thing. When I'm looking for a spouse, I will not marry somebody that will beat me. But growing up in a domestic abuse home damaged children, because their psychological mind is about that fullness of joy of entering the marriage is not there. There's this something that they always expect. Okay, there's this tranquility. When is it going to strike? When is this going to do this? Because you are expecting that something like that will happen because you don't have a good example to follow.
Let's talk about your former husband. You are now divorced.
Yes, I'm divorced.
So how did you start dating? I mean, I want to believe that there might have been some red flags when you were dating. When you were dating him, how long did you date for?
Oh, we were dating off and on for 7 years. And the problem in our own situation is that we didn't stay in the same country for long. So I was in Abidjan, he would be in Nigeria, so we just go up and down. We just like maybe 3 months or 2 months per year.
Oh, so it was a long distance
relationship.
Would you say that had an effect on you knowing him? Did you have a sense of knowing this person well? Did you know him well?
Yes, I did. And I don't think that long distance had anything to do, because there's some red flag that I knew even with the little time we are dating, that he has some, I could see insecurity.
Tell me about that.
All right, so the thing is that he likes to be able to control, and which was something that happened when we are married. You want to choose the kind of friend that goes to. You want to choose the kind of career. You want the kind of career that he think befits him, befitted his status. The kind of friend that befitted is the kind of status he's already created for himself.
So the kind of career that befits him, was it career for you?
For me, that befit him. That he will be able to brag with his friend. This is my wife, he said this. My wife is a bank manager, my wife is a doctor. So when that is not the case, then there's a fiction. There's a fiction, and but I know that he has that type of situation. For instance, before when we are dating, a friend of his got, wedded in another city in Nigeria, I think Benin. And so he bought clothes because, the traditional, this thing, he bought it. So, and a lot of people just saw it when I wore it, they said, oh, this lace, this clothes is so beautiful. It's so nice. I just said, thank you. He was so furious. I said, what's the problem? He said, you didn't tell them I bought it for you. I said, that was not what they asked. They just said that, where do you bought this clothes? I said it was Lagos. So that no, that I should tell them that
he wanted the credit.
He wanted the credit, and that is one of the problem in the marriage. And I also found that I was so stingy. But why I say that the red flag, there's always red flag. If you really look at it, the way he treated his own brother, right? That when his brother was in school, how he wasn't supportive enough, I should have known that he's going to do the same thing to me when he got married.
So was this when you were dating or when you were
when
married?
we were dating.
And so when you saw all of those red flags, what was going on in your head at the time?
That is the thing about the youth. Because you have one focus. Love. Oh, I love this person. I love this person. So you just don't look at all the minor things. So you think I can manage that. I can control that. There's no problem. Right? And that is the problem, because when you get married, you face a real life, not just dating each other anymore.
So the fantasy ends.
Yeah, the fantasy ends. And you face reality. With the first year, okay, I can manage. The second year, so, and in both sides, you start getting cranky. A little thing that you used to tolerate before, you don't tolerate it anymore. And
at what stage did that begin to happen? Did you feel intolerant of each other?
Well, for him, it's from the first year. And
first year while you were dating?
No, when we got married.
So was there a change after you got? So I want to understand, and I'm sure our viewers, friends watching us want to understand as well. So when you were dating,
yes,
was it like a honeymoon period that suddenly ended after you got married, or was there like trouble off and on and the trouble continued after you got married?
Okay, like I said, for my instance, we never really stayed together. So anytime we visit each other, either I visit them or so it's kind of like honeymoon for that 2 weeks or so, right? So when we got married, right? When we got married, it was 1 month honeymoon, only 1 month honeymoon, and because I got pregnant, and that was the end of it. Because we were so upset that it's like it felt like I trapped him.
I'm sorry, you trapped him
in marriage
with your pregnancy?
Yes. So.
Were you pregnant when you were getting married?
No, it's after I had got married. And I do not understand. And that was what the confusion started for me. That I thought this is after I got married, this is the next step, right? And it was just a whole dynamic. And that was where his own unhappiness started. For me, because I was being trained that marriage, I mean, women that are in charge of the home, of happy home. My job in my head was that I'm trying to find solution, to make this thing work, to make this thing work, right? To make this thing work. I try to be somebody that I really want to change my personality, but it didn't work because it did not work because this is not me. So I think where the whole thing just got to the end was when I just said enough is enough. I want to be me.
At what point was that?
What
was this, the thing that happened that broke the camel's back?
Yeah,
like
I think it was when we want to get nationality for my when we want to get our nationality, and he wanted us to move back to Nigeria, and I said, we only have 6 months for us to be qualified to put our application. Why can't we wait for that 6 months? Then later, when we get our nationality, then we'll be able to go. He said, no, it's now or never. I said, I should choose Canada or marriage. And I now looked at, what is marriage? I've never even asked myself that question. What is marriage that I'm not actually, I mean, what I'm living is not marriage. So I just analyzed it that I had a wedding, but I never get married. So I just said, there is nothing to choose from. And that was when I now decided that it doesn't want a good thing for me. Everyone will be so happy that, okay, you are progressing in this aspect. I think that was the thing that just did it for me.
So it wasn't like there was abuse that led to the breakdown.
My
Was
goodness.
there abuse that
There
led
is a lot of financial abuse. Oh my God. And controlling. Like I say, you have to choose what kind of career, what kind of thing you want to job that it befitted you. I always be a business person. So I love to do business. That doesn't go according to its own category of the kind of a wife will be proud of. Also, the kind of friend I love in helping people, right? So when I meet someone, just talk to it, it will analyze their education, their financial status, and we say,
He's analyzing your friends.
Yes. So no, you can't go out with that person because it's not to your standard. You should be friend with people that I standard you, so that you will be going hand in hand together. And so just so kind of friction, mostly financial. And we weren't even living like husband and wife. I don't know anything.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. Okay, for instance, there was one time he traveled, so he lost his wallet. And so he was out of the country, and someone wanted to help to call the bank in Canada so that they can. We're in France then. Want to call the bank so that they can put a stop to the cards. And they asked me, it's normal as his wife, okay, what's the name of the bank and etc. I said, I don't know. I said, how come you don't know the name of the bank your husband banked? And I said, I don't know. So I don't know anything apart from...
Was that just one bank that you didn't know, or you didn't know anything?
Anything.
Did you know how much he was earning?
I used to see some, because it's an expatriate. So it's an international engineer, or engineer. So yes, I used to see some document, and that is it. If I didn't see it, I won't know. I won't know that. So
was there ever an avenue for both of you to sit down and discuss and say, this marriage isn't working?
That is another thing. There's no communication.
What do you mean by that?
All right, so there's no time that we ever sit down that said, this thing is not working, because I believe that right from the first year, his mind is out of the marriage. He only stayed in the marriage because of his family. Because his family will ask, okay, you want to separate, for what purpose? And see, it doesn't have any particular purpose. He will not be able to, okay, because, he will not get the support of his family. And that is another problem we have in Africa about, I love that family oriented, but they shouldn't determine who we marry or who we do not marry, or who stay married or who doesn't stay married, because that will have solved my own problem. Because after 1 or 2 years, we will have been separated. But both of us were afraid of what the family will say, or what the society will say, what the church will say. So we continued to stay and stayed and stayed, because I remember there was one time that maybe around 7 or 8 years, when he just said, yeah, he won't divorce. Both of us said, yeah, it's okay, because none of us were happy.
So you're suggesting that this domestic violence or even domestic abuse is more systemic?
Yeah, somehow, yes, because look at it. The mother, especially look at my own situation, for instance. My father used to beat my mom. If I'm a man, I will be beating the same thing. I work with domestic abuse in Canada. We see that 60% of domestic abuse guys came from the abusive homes. So this is the untreated issue. It's an untreated tension that they didn't take care of it when they were young. Then just accumulated become a character and habit for them when they are young. I mean, they become old. The problem is it may not be a systematic problem, but it's a set of example. A man look forward to his father, how his father is treating his mother, how the uncle treated his aunt, and how the grandfather treated his aunt. So some of them, they don't know any other way around. This is how to treat women, and this is the woman do something bad and need to just correct her. And that is how, until when somebody just say, no, you shouldn't do it that way, then they gave that person names or so. And that is why I always support every organization that help men too, because they need awareness. They need to be, they need different program to help them understand home is not about supremacy. It's not about, I am the boss and you are my servant or so. So it's supposed to be in unity, in oneness. Yes. And any situation, they then put it together and discuss it together and help their children. Because whatsoever they are doing, they are sowing the seed in their children's life.
Impacting the next generation.
Yeah.
So I hear you say that at some point both of you thought that if you divorced, you were afraid of what your parents would think. Did you ever sit down at that point to say, we really want to divorce? Did you, or we want to go our separate ways, this isn't working?
Like I said, that we went, for me, when I look at, even when we are in Canada, when Canada here, he didn't live here. So, and that make a difference. A lot of big difference for me. It only comes like twice a year, like 3 weeks or so. So I don't see it as really married, since for more than 7 years, it's just kind of an extended guest just coming.
So it made it bearable?
Exactly, made it bearable. So when he's the one that suggested divorce, that was why I was able to agree that let's do it. So then he called his family, and the family said no.
Oh, okay.
And I said, well, I've not told my family. I said, what do you want? He said, you can't do it because his family said no. And that was a mistake, because he couldn't be a man. He should have been a man that this is what I want, and let's go for it. So for me, it wasn't marriage, like I said. It was just like a guest, because at that moment, I already knew that we are not compatible. And I wanted to focus on my children, so I wasn't even interested. Either divorce or no divorce, it doesn't make any difference for me, because we are not actually a couple in my own head. So,
did you seek help? What resources or support system did you have when you were going through this?
Thank you for that question. When we were in France, that would have been the best time to seek help, because that was when I was going through torment. And I was just nearly wedded, and this is a wedding marriage that I always think maybe I watched too much of a movie. Anyway, so you know that this is just honeymoon, everything will be okay. But the problem was that there are so many resources out there that can help. But I was so afraid. I was so afraid to seek help because of what the society, Nigerian society, community that we live around, we say. I remember there was one woman that was that had problem, And they always fight. They have a big domestic abuse. Everyone knows about it. Anytime somebody, I mean, this woman refused to call the police because of what they would say. Well, one day the man pushed her from the 5-story building, naked, from the bathroom. And so it was the neighbor that called the police. And the police arrested the husband, that the judgment was done. You can't believe that what they did to this woman, the Nigerian community did to this woman, that, oh, you call police on your husband. They forgot that all the scar on her face, as she was pushed naked from the bathroom. They didn't say that. They didn't look at that. They only look at, you call police for your husband. So I think that was one of the reasons why I couldn't get help. That
you were afraid of the backlash.
At the backlash, and also I was ashamed to, like I said, I think that is another thing that made women to stay in the abusive relationship. Shame that, well, my neighbor, what would they say? That, like I told you right from the beginning, that the woman's home is we are being trained to hold a home together.
So there's a sense of that we
failure.
Have failed.
Exactly. So that shame is that, oh, you couldn't do just a little task.
Oh, wow.
That the one that, oh, the woman, that is the primary job of the woman. You couldn't do it. Couldn't do this task, and that is, I can say, mostly 60% of the reason why women don't go. And that's why when we ask, even from the organization that help women, you can hardly see someone that will come and say, okay, can I write down your testimony or just tell us what happened? They don't want that.
Oh, wow.
Because they don't want people to say, oh, you went and report your husband.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just.
You are being so brave and courageous to be able to speak out, but is it because you now work with a lot of women in this field? Yes,
that is one of the reasons. Another reason is that I want to talk to young women that have not married. That when you are in relationship, look at all these red flags. They are there. And just try and settle it. Try and anything that you know you are not comfortable with, discuss it when you are courting, because it's easier for you to walk away and normalize. Or maybe the guy doesn't know, but because the way he saw his father treating his mother, he think that is okay, or the uncle treated his aunt, or the grandfather. So maybe in their family, this is how they handle the wife. So let him know, no, this is, I will not tolerate this behavior. This is not for me. So let them try and, be able to look at that situation, because living in a domestic abuse, like we say, it doesn't have to be physical, mental, financial, controlling, so psychological. This thing, it's not fun. You see some people, they will say they're celebrating 50 years anniversary, but how many of those 50 years they are happy? But they are just there because the society said, yes, you have to be there.
It's an expectation.
Expectation, and they're miserable for 50 years.
So how long ago were you, or have you been separated or divorced?
2010.
Oh wow, that's going 12 years. 12 years,
12
years now.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind my asking, are you in a relationship?
No.
Have you been in a relationship since you?
No. I just focus on my career. Like I say, I like to do business. I just said this is the good thing. So I went back to school. So I went to school, I got my degree, then I worked for a little while, then I started my own business, then I have a non-profit organization helping domestic abuse women and their children, because it's so important to help the youth with that situation.
Absolutely. Wow, you have a story, Vivian.
Yeah, thank you.
So
Well,
will you ever consider a relationship in the future, or would you say this has marred your...
no, 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 no. It's just because of time. No, never say never. No, it's because of time.
So would you say you have healed from everything that happened during your marriage and your...
Yes, I've
dating?
healed and I've learned. So because it's so important to look back and see what you are, I mean, you don't learn. Some part also is my fault, because you can't, so many people, they put the fault on the spouse, and so sometimes when I look back, I think there's something that I could have done or handled better. Right? So I've learned and I've looked back. So if I was to be in the relationship, I will do it better than before, definitely.
Well, we thank you for your willingness to share. I know that it was a painful past for you, but hopefully you have healed and you are learning, or you have learned. And when the next time comes, I'm sure that you'll find a happier relationship.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to put your charity, your non-profit
yes, Providence House Partners.
Providence House Partners. So we're going to put that in a link in the bio below, and then people can check out what you do.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I know that the topic of domestic violence is heavy and very, very touchy subject for lots of people. But I hope that you have been blessed today by hearing Vivian share about her own journey. And oftentimes, we're not aware of the things that people are going through. So her advice to you is, if you're dating, the red flags are always there. Look out for those red flags before it is too late. We're grateful that Vivian came out to speak today. But there are lots of people who are suffering, who are afraid to speak because they are thinking of what people will say. They are thinking of the backlash. They are thinking of the stigma. Please speak up, because it's only when you speak up that you can get the help that you need. Thank you for watching this episode. We're excited that you're joining us on this journey where every voice matters. These are everyday people with significant life-changing stories. As you know, the objective of Talk with Mo is creating safe places where you can unburden, inspire, and motivate. Until next time, be sure to share this video, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you again real soon. God bless you.